Hello everyone. So today we are going to look at how networking look like in the cloud. Before we move to the networking to AWS cloud, we just want to first look at what are the components, or you can say the constructs we have while we are on-prem. So typically, in any call, when we talk about a on-prem networking, we have a corp network where all the corp resources, including your maybe servers, clients, the file server, print servers, printers, everything is going to be connected, right? So typically the COP network is the one which is going to define the address space, what all address space you're looking forward for your infrastructure. Along with that, in the COP network, for sure to have the security and all that in configurable and manageable, we have the VLAN implemented so that you have some sort of network segmentations, right? So that let's say your maybe HR department should not directly talk to the maybe accounts until unless there is some sort of L3 routing or you have some sort of filter. So apart from that, in fact, in your corp network, you also have two categorization of the networks. You have a private network, private network, and we have a perimeter network, right, or the DMs. The full idea is all the public facing services, right? The public facing, which means your maybe front end servers, we want to put into the perimeter network, whereas all rest like your authentication services, database, file servers, all that we prefer to place into the private network. And of course, we have a some sort of internet connectivity. So we have a internet connection. Right. So internet connection means you may have some sort of connection from your ISP, and they have placed one device at your location, which is connecting to internet as well as your network. Apart from that, for sure, we have some sort of firewall where you want to have the complete control that what kind of traffic can be communicatable, whether it is internally within the segments, or you can say the VLANs, or even between private and perimeter network, or towards the internet, right? And then for sure, we have also some sort of netting implemented so that we might have some resources which may need the access from internet to inside, where be something called destination NAT, or inside to out, typically where we have a something like source NAT, right? So we can use any terms as we want, but just the idea is how the constructs we have typically when we were on-prem. Now, what if tomorrow the same customer want to go to the AWS cloud? Typically, whether we are going to the cloud or on-prem, we want the same freedom of network design or network architect so that we can think and we can plan the networking of our choice. So when we talk about AWS, we have a VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, which is one of the service from AWS, which is typically there to help us to build up the networking. So VPCs are like it's behave like your corp network you have in case of on-prem. So VPC is somewhere connect, related to what you have your corp network where you have defined your address space. Similarly, for the VPC, Virtual Private Cloud in the AWS cloud, we also define the address space, or more we call it as a CIDR, CIDR. Once you have the VPC is as good as you have selected the region. So I will cover the region in another module when we talk about another small video when we talk about the AWS infrastructure. But that's, let's say I've selected Mumbai and I'm creating a VPC. So that means my VPC is as big as it is your Mumbai region, right? Then as we discussed in the on-prem area, we have a VLANs. So exactly in same way on the AWS cloud, we are going to create a subnets, right? So subnets are like what we create on-prem or VLAN or the network segments where you want to host the resources for different departments or different services. So exactly same way we create the subnets in the AWS cloud. which is the subcomponent under your VPC, and for sure it is going to be the subset of your VPC CIDR. You can have multiple subnets, right? Because let's say I want to have a multiple subnets in the on-prem, like you have multiple VLANs. Similarly, you can have multiple subnets in the VPC. After that, like in on-prem, we decide for what resources are going to be private and what resources are going to be perimeter. So to categorization of that, in the AWS cloud, we have something called, we call a private subnet, right? Private subnet. So typically, private subnet means the subnet which is using NAT as their gateway in the routing table. Whereas the subnets which you want to host as a perimeter for the front end, load balancers, web servers, like that kind of services, we have subnet categorization called public subnet, right? And public subnet means they are using internet gateway as their gateway in the routing table. So this is how we can have the private subnet and the public subnets according to the routing. We will decide that which can be private, which can be public. And then as we talk about two components here, NAT and IGW, so these are actually the gate routing devices for us. So like in on-prem, we discussed that you have internet connections where ISP is providing that to you. So how you get the internet connection while you are AWS. So that is another managed service from AWS, that is IGW, Internet Gateway. So once you create the IGW, then you have to for sure associate this, right? Associate IGW to the VPC which you have created, and that will give you the internet connectivity between your VPC and the internet, right? So this is acting as your gateway or the IGW, like we have a ISP device in case of on-prem. And for the firewall purpose, what we can have in the AWS cloud, we have two options here. We can think of going for a security group, SG, which is going to act as your, in simple words, I'm putting right now here as an instance level, or we can call it as a maybe your ENI or Elastic Network Interface level. But I just put it, make simple right now, instance level. And then we have a NACL, Network Access Control List, which actually help us to protect at the subnet level. So take an example. We have a EC2. EC2 will be EC2. Sorry, the EC2 is like your virtual machine. Those who come from virtualization background, and in the Amazon we have a the term used for that is Elastic Compute Cloud or EC2. It's like a virtual machine. So your EC2 will going to be first level of protection, that is your security group. Right? Security group. And then after security group, if it allow, it will enter into the subnet. And that's where at the subnet level, before they exit from the subnet, we have a NACL where they will be checked for the network access control list. And if that also allow, then for sure, they will land to our router. And then according to how we have defined the routing table, we might be defined the NAT for this particular subnet, or we might be defined the IGW or internet gateway for this subnet. Accordingly, your packet will be routed toward outside. Right? So this is just a brief component relations, or you can say maybe the summarizations, how the on-prem components and the cloud components look like, or maybe how we can, make some kind of mind map, sort of mind map. So Corp network is more like you have a VPC. The VLANs you are composing on-prem is more like a subnets you are creating. You have a private networks. You have a perimeter network. So that's where we have a private subnet and public subnets. Then you have internet connections. That's where we have the internet gateway. And then for the firewall, where in on-prem you can have any kind of hardware, software form of the firewall implementations. We have the security group and NACL, and how they are placed. The security group is more like you have it at the instance level, whereas the NACL is here at the subnet level. Right? So this is a very brief summary. For sure, I'll cover a little more in the part number 2. So thank you so much for watching.